Hey everyone, I've got an announcement to make real quick. As people are coming in, we've got tables set up in that far room by the bar in the back, and we have items that we'll be doing a raffle for. Participate in the raffle. You have to sign up on an app. Adam, stick your hand up. He's at a laptop over there. You see him with his hand up. He can help you get signed up on the app. It makes it really easy. So anything you like over there, you can bid on it with the raffle.
We were then transferred to the East Coast with Mike's company. He then played for the Manhattan Rugby Club and was still playing rugby 2 weeks before he was diagnosed with brain cancer. His children spent weekends at the Manhattan Rugby Club games and knew very little about his playing days at IU. Mike is smiling upon us, watching his family accept this prestigious award. His family and rugby meant everything to him. They were his
captain on 3 non-sequential times. During his captaincy, Art laid the foundation for one of the most successful teams in IU history. 23 consecutive wins, including Chicago tournaments, Big Ten championship, Mid-America Cup championships, a national championship, and a 3rd and 4th place national rankings. In an IDS article, Art laid out his strategy for the 2 squads of comparable strength and the grind them down defense. He developed the team along these lines with the goal of winning the Chicago tournaments in 66 and 67. His approach resulted in weekly scrimmages that were as tough as anyone can remember. During the undefeated run, the B squad defeated the A squad on several occasions, and it was ugly. A lot of trash talking followed. At the completion of those scrimmages, he took everyone to the stadium for 2 laps around the stairs. Games were a breeze compared to those practices, and we were mentally and physically prepared. He instilled in the team a determination to stop the opponents from scoring and to punish and grind them until they broke. He encouraged us backs to run the ball out of our own goal and down their throats, a tactic that surprised many opponents. Art's signature play was to scoop up and dive in for the try. Art and another one of tonight's inductees, Phil Bryant, looked like the back line, scoring a perfectly executed pass for the win against Illinois in May of 1966. Off the field, Art recruited volunteers from the team, like myself, to design and print rugby posters, which were distributed all over the campus advertising the next game. He armed us with spray paint and stencils to get the IU rugby name onto every sidewalk, early graffiti. He organized us to participate in the IU Sing. We didn't win. Art left a legacy of hard work and sacrifice. So it is my honor to introduce a Hall of Fame inductee, Art Stump. Art.
Over here. Oh, that's good.
Totally unseen. I'm really proud to see the gathering that you have here. I know my friend here sort of walked me into this, but it's just amazing to me that all of this happens anywhere. And guys like this and so forth, I hope that you keep on with it. That's all I can say. Just keep on with it, because a lot of people are being served by it.
We're going to take a picture. Right? Look there. There you go, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. And then you're up next, Johnny.
All right. It's a great honor for me to introduce this next inductee. He's one of the founding members of the team and scored some of the first tries for IU against Notre Dame in 1963. In his era, there were not many rules. In fact, there were no substitutes allowed at all. This incentivized players to injure somebody from the other team, so you would be playing a man up. On the flip side of that, if you were hurting, you did not come off the field unless it was really bad, because you would not want to let your teammates down. So, in this gladiator era of rugby,
This inductee earned the nickname of Captain Crunch following a match that he put 3 players in the hospital. Now, I'm glad rugby has evolved and is more sporting, and certainly I would have loved to play with Captain Crunch. This inductee was recently given the honor of a Lifetime Achievement Award from Indiana Rugby, the whole state of Indiana, and it's directly from his work in starting high school rugby in 1990 in the state of Indiana. He literally wrote the book on how to start a high school program, which was adopted by the USA Rugby Foundation. He also looked at IU rugby with incredible passion. He saw them getting kicked off of campus in the early 90s and knew he had to step up and do something. He took on the responsibility to get them officially back on campus. He took on the responsibility of paying their first paid coach. It wasn't much, it was Tim Stein, and just covered his expenses. But he did that. He covered Tim Stein's expenses, and they had an official coach and had guidance. And they changed from a social club to starting in the right direction. Tim Stein then, in turn, said, I'm not really the right guy for the job. You got to get SOPA in here. And this inductee said, you know what, that is absolutely what the club needs. And to take him from a social club to be a great club, this inductee stepped up and paid SOPA's salary for approximately 3 years. Is in the 90s, about $30,000 a year, not much today, but it was a significant carry back then on his own. So we should all be so grateful for this inductee and the weight he carried back then to get IU on the right track to being a really good club and where we are today. Please welcome our next inductee, Phil Bryant.
Today, just as in the 1960s, when IU Rugby was founded, our nation and the world is at a historic turning point. That era was also marked with war, political assassination, drug death, protests, riots, crime. Many young people in that time felt a great loss. They didn't know where they were going. They were in enormous despair. I was rescued by rugby. I was struggling through the lowest point in my life up to that time. My father, my principal caretaker, growing up for my entire life, because my mother had to work away from home and was only home on weekends, died exactly 1 month before the end of the semester. I had recently broken up with my longtime girlfriend and first love. Academically, I was failing 2/3 of my classes. I was forced to withdraw in order to save my grade point average. I no longer was a full-time student, and therefore I was dismissed from my fraternity, my pledgeship. I felt as if I had lost everything I had been working for or cared about my entire life. I was 20 years old. I was actually experiencing suicidal thoughts. This is true. Matter of fact, a concerned friend from my fraternity, not fraternity, but from the dormitory that I lived in my freshman year, actually referred me to his psychology professor for counseling. It helped a little. But my real salvation arrived and I remember it very well, January 10th, 1963. We used to have walk-through registration. It was timely. It took an entire week. I did my walk-through registration on Wednesday, and after I completed my spring registration for classes, I crossed across from the old field house where they did it to the Union Building, walked through the Union Building into the Commons, and I was greeted by John Schofield. John was an economics major, working on a PhD, and was from Durham, England, and I knew him from a prior living condition. He'd actually lived in the fraternity house, but he wasn't a member. He just boarded there. And he said, we're having a rugby practice on Saturday, and I think you might fit in. You might enjoy it. Why don't you come to it? It's going to be on the second floor of the Hyper building in the old gymnasium, and see you there. Well, what happened was I arrived at that practice, and I found 20 new, really caring friends immediately. Most of them were graduate students, very successful academically. And I was a little brother. Bob Pace was almost like a father substitute. He recognized my needs somehow. He was a graduate student studying for his fourth degree in international law. And he took me under wing. Now, good fortune followed. I met an abundance of friends and a social life that I thought I had lost forever with losing the fraternity. In rugby play, they put me at second row, number 5. I played the entire first spring season there. Didn't transfer to number 8 until the fall, and I stayed there for the rest of my IU career. But in the first match, honestly, we only had 22 players, so we couldn't practice full side. And there were only 4 people on the team that had ever seen a rugby match before or played in one. We were totally lost at Notre Dame, our first match away. They clobbered us 18-3. Bob Pace scored the only points with a midfield, it was past the 50-yard line, field goal, a penalty kick. Well, something clicked from just that full 2 sides experience up there. The following Saturday in the old Memorial Stadium on 10th Street, I somehow intuitively knew where the play was going, and instead of following, I went to where I expected the breakdowns to be. I don't know how I learned it, but I did. I scored 2 tries that game, the first 2 tries that IU Rugby ever had. The first one was from line out. We were down on Notre Dame's 20-yard line, and in those days, jumpers weren't supported. The binding came many years later, and you were supposed to defend, but I broke through. I didn't bother to jump against my junker. The ball went to him. I just broke through when he tapped the ball. And I caught the scrum half as he was trying to punt for touch. Blocked the kick with this hand and caught it in this hand and ran right over the fullback. That was it. Now, the second try was more traditional, just following up, once again going to where I thought the breakdown was going to be. And at this time, it was on the wing. Joe Wheat, a freshman. There were only 4 undergraduates on this team. Everybody else was a graduate student. Joe Wheat was being tackled, and I was there to receive, pass back into the field. He was on the line, and I took it, and once again, I only had to run over the fullback. No problem. And Bob Pace, excellent toe, one of the best kickers I've ever seen, converted both my tries and added a field goal in addition, a penalty kick. So we that was our first victory. We beat Notre Dame 13-8. Now, beyond rugby, and life does go on. Because of my rugby physical fitness, I was drafted out of college in my final semester of college, but I changed majors a couple of times, and I'd taken a couple extra years. Draft board caught up with me. Well, I was registered in classes on February 17th, went into the U.S. Army. Basic training for 8 weeks. But because of my rugby physical fitness, when they had the PT test, called the PCPT at that time, I scored the company's highest record. Well, I finished basic training and came back and played my final rugby game with IU. And in that game, I was able to match up with Art Stump. We were losing. We were undefeated up to that time, and I hadn't played it. That was the only game I played that semester. But I broke through, and the scrum half got a bad tap. He was turned away from me, and he did a blind pass to his fly half, and I intercepted it from number 8. And once again, down on the goal line, but there were 2 defenders there to stop me right on the goal line. And Mark and Art Stump, coming up behind, said, "With you!" And I did a blind pass off to the left, and he touched down, and that was the go-ahead and winning score. So we kept our undefeated record intact for that entire spring and fall. And according to the AP, it ended up with a tournament in Iowa where we won the national championship, and I think it was the first one ever declared. It was an invitational national championship. I wasn't there. I read about it in the newspapers in the Army. I was in officer candidate school. In rugby, I don't think my story is really all that unique. I have known quite a few people who have shared personal stories of salvation because they were fortunate enough to come back from, well, a judge-ordered boys' school attendance for 6 or 8 weeks, and they come back and their school has a high school program. Their peers change, their focus changes to academic and life effort, to where they go to college and continue. So I don't think my story is all that unique. And the reason I'm telling it is because we are at a very important turning time, and our youngest generation needs rugby desperately. And I have been putting together a book that is called The Book of Rugby, Virtues of a Rugby Education. This is only part 1. It's got 3 more parts, but essentially it is a sales manual to help rugby programs in the communities explain rugby to the unacquainted for sponsorship and financial support. Now, at each of your, well, I don't think we had enough to hit all the tables, but you'll see these flyers in the center of your tables, most of you. And this is called a free rugby academic life and coaching gift from the USRU. And essentially, what it is about is to help, I see rugby's future tied in those three areas. Anybody that's done any serious coaching in any sport knows that your players have academic issues. I could give you lots of stories of enormous turnarounds, going from D's and saying, you can practice, but you can't play A-side unless you get your grades above a C average. And I saw D students go to A and B students in the first grade period. I had teachers come to me and say, my God, I don't know what you did, but thank you. I knew the guy had ability, and wow, what a once again, this is not unique if you've coached. Well, this brochure is intended, and take one, please, if you have it at your table. And if not, come and see us at table 5. Maybe we can arrange to get one to you. But give it to a young person that is struggling in mathematics. That's what it's intended for. Mathematics is the biggest stumbling block nationally, academically. And if you can master mathematics for your field, you can have an enormous, successful, financially rewarding career. I have dedicated much of my life to working to repay that debt to John Schofield and Bob Pace, and also the rugby ethos. By founding 4 men's clubs, 3 referee societies, which joined together to become the Midwest Rugby Referee Society, hundreds, directly and indirectly, high school rugby programs, which also grew into youth programs. I wrote a manual about how to do that, and it's going to be published in this book, Part 4. I have copies of that. If you're working right now in starting a youth program, or think you want to, or know somebody that would benefit from, so I have copies of a few copies of these things at my table, table 5. Come by and and if I don't have enough, I'll try to get them to you. I'm also, in addition to all that, I also served as an officer for the Midwest Rugby Union for quite a few years, and actually I'm one of the 16 signatories as an official witness, along with another IU graduate, 1971, Bob Irwin, who passed away last year, on the United States of America Rugby Football Union Charter. Indiana was well represented at that momentous occasion. So it's a great honor to be inducted into the IU Rugby Hall of Fame, and I humbly thank the nomination committee and selection committee for even being considered. Remember the golden rule of rugby, and I've tried to live by this my entire life. Leave it better than you found it. Thank you so much. Yeah. Is that next? That's next. Yeah. You're up here. Sorry, you can't get rid of me. I have known Tom Wacker since the fall of 1963, when he transferred from IU to IU from Marion College in Indianapolis. He got into some kind of trouble up there that we won't talk about tonight. Now, I know that he'd be far too modest to say so, but when it comes to global contributions to the rugby football, he stands above all of us, frankly.
all of the inductees of the Hall of Fame for sure. Now, Tom not only played club rugby over much of the world, he played at Indiana University in Indiana. That's where he learned his rugby. After he earned his MBA, he first was employed in Texas in the oil business, and he played in Texas. He played in Hong Kong when he transferred over to international banking. He played in England, also in international banking, Ireland and Scotland, also in international banking. But Tom also administered rugby at the very highest levels globally and nationally in the United States. He served as the secretary, that was the term they used at that time, the chief executive officer of the International Rugby Football Board from 1997 to 1999, 3 critical years. Because the name changed in 1998 to the International Rugby Board, the IRB, which most of us are a little bit more familiar with. And then again, the name changed again, because Tom didn't have anything to do with this, but in 2018, they changed the organization name to World Rugby. When Tom was selected to lead the World Rugby of over 130 member nations, he was recruited from a 25-year career working in international finance and banking. It was called the IRFB, with offices in Bristol, England, and England had a 111 years history of hosting the offices of that institution. But rugby had a problem. The UK was considering, well, they were imposing a punitive tax, not just on activities of rugby, international rugby in England or the UK, but the world, global income. And of course, well, today we might give this a name. We might call this today the California business growth model, right? Matter of fact, I saw a mime just last week that I couldn't hesitate to share with you. There was a picture of Gavin Newsom, governor of California, and it shows that he had been recently recognized as a U-Haul Salesman of the Year. Well, Tom's appointment to CEO of World Rugby was in recognition of not only his global rugby and business experience, they were taking advantage of that, but he also, as a leader, understood the solution to this punitive government problem. Relocate, reincorporate the business where they want you enough to give you a tax break. And for this, he was well grounded academically with an IU Kelley School MBA in finance, and he was a born disruptor and problem solver. Ireland fit the bill. No taxes on rugby in Ireland. He was able to convince the board of directors of the necessity of doing this. At the time, 1997, when the move was announced, it caused a tsunami globally in the news, finance news, as well as in the sporting news. Tom successfully managed the move to settle in Dublin, Ireland. Curses, foiled again! To quote Snoopy from Peanuts fame, the politicians in the UK were not pleased. Now, on the other hand, World Rugby has prospered because of that move. The World Cup has achieved enormous popularity globally, and rugby is challenging right now association football, better known as soccer, for being the most popular sport in the world. We, as rugby enthusiasts, even today, continue to be blessed by that decision. After Tom's IRB work, he returned to the USA. He served on the audit committee of the USA Rugby from 2006 to 2012, and as a director and chairman at Penguins. Most of you aren't familiar with this. It's kind of like a Barbarian Select Side spinoff. And he managed them on global tours and things like that from 2010 and 2012. So at this point, Tom was unable to attend because of other commitments, long-term commitments, but I'm delighted to say his rugby playing protege, his son, Chris, is here to accept Tom's award. Chris Wacker, please come forward. You like that? Yeah. Okay. Over here? Yeah. Huh?
Good evening. Thank you so much on behalf of my father. He's in Florida today with friends who've come over from the UK, and so he wasn't able to make it. But anyways, I kind of wanted to make it a little bit lighter up here, so I thought I'd just tell a couple stories about my dad. One of them is about rugby, so it's okay. Phil mentioned that my dad transferred from Marion College to IU. That's not the way I heard the story when I was young. So as my dad tells it, he says him and a couple of his friends got kicked out of Marion because I don't know, I'm not really from Indiana. I was born elsewhere and grew up elsewhere. But I think there are bat caves near the campus. So they basically got pillowcases, him and his two friends, and they went to the bat caves and they scraped the tops of the caves with the pillowcases, went to the campus, to the girls' dorm, got in the elevator, hit all the buttons of the floors, first, second, third, fourth, I think it was a 4-story building, let all the caves out in the elevator, and they were off. So I'm not sure exactly how they were caught, but they might have been bragging about it, who knows. Anyways, so the transfer from Marion to IU I thought was interesting when I heard that, because that's not exactly the way I was hearing that story when I was younger. The other story is my dad was a banker, international banker, and for him to get recruited to be the CEO or the secretary of the International Rugby Football Board was very unusual. And anyways, my dad really earned his rugby chops playing for the Hong Kong Rugby Football Club. He played there for 6 years, and he played on the first club. And teams from Wales and Japan and other prominent countries would come through. And in Hong Kong, you'd play the Hong Kong Rugby Football Club. They were the top club. And anyways, my dad was playing at quite a high level at that time. And he got to know some of these famous rugby guys who eventually were on the committee who were hiring for this position, the chairman of the IR, International Rugby Football Board. And so he went through like 20 interviews, and they're like, okay, this guy, he knows rugby, and he definitely knows how to bring rugby from the amateur era into the professional era, which actually was his main task. This was in 1995, 1996. And they were mostly concerned about him having enough sort of respect as a rugby man. Because to have a person with an American accent from Indiana leading all these Welsh and Irish and English and French and South African, Australian, New Zealand, an American from Indiana, running the show, how is this possible? And my dad says that at one point they were trying to find out what was his like reputation as a rugby player, back in the day, and they called the chairman of the Japanese Rugby Football Union, who wasn't able to attend one of their nominating process, and on the call they said, yeah, do you remember Tom Wacker? Did you ever play against him? And Japan used to come through Hong Kong quite a lot and play, and the chairman of the Japanese Rugby Football Union thought about it for a minute, and he said, yeah, Tom Wacker, he was a prop. I think he took a swing at me and cracked me right in the jaw one time. And after that, the committee that was going to finally decide if Tom Wacker was able to lead this organization, they thought, okay, I think he can hold up his rugby reputation. He's got the skills to do it, and that's, well, as he tells it, one of the final processes to him getting the job. Anyways, so those are the two little stories about my dad. I'm very proud of him. He wishes he could be here tonight. I played rugby my whole life up until maybe age 40 because my dad got me started when I was young, and it's been a big part of my life. I still play touch rugby occasionally, so I can feel maybe how important this is to him and to all of you too. So thank you very much.
Our next inductee is Ryan Gaby, and to introduce him will be Ryan Nystrom. He's a member of the 1997-98 Final Four 15-a-side. He's an All-American inside center, and in his military career was an XO Cav Scout, 2 tours in Iraq. And Ryan's here to introduce Ryan Gaby. Ryan, you here?
Good timing. I had a long-winded speech prepared for tonight, but like Ryan Gaby, it's from the heart. And so for everybody here, I grew up next to Ryan in Portage, Indiana, lived next to each other in 2 different occasions. We were never friends. And even then, when my dog bit his breast and he was mad and he went to the hospital, we still never became close. It wasn't until IU Rugby where we became really good friends. We built a camaraderie, and Ryan really built the foundation that helped build this, what you see here. He was a 4-time Thunderbird, 2-time captain, and we needed that because between Don and I, we were a little frantic. So Ryan was the steadiness that brought us back to the center. He is a phenomenal athlete, and in the end, he contributed more to the sport than I ever did. and that is something to be cherished. While we all might be great athletes, we might all have high accolades, Ryan started a high school program. He started or helped build a men's club. Those are things that can't be measured. We can get awards, we can get accolades, but those things that help promote the sport in the United States are immeasurable. So I ask you, no matter how good you are, give back to the sport. Ryan did it, and we should all try to do it. So in the end, like I said, I had a long-winded speech, and I didn't want to get all into that. I'm pretty sure we all know that anybody who knows me is that I'm not a good speaker. I'm more of a player. But in the end, Ryan was the epitome of IU rugby. He played with heart, he played with passion, and he cared more about making us better as a foundation than anything else. So it's a great honor that I got asked to do this tonight, and thank you.
Our next inductee is Katie Coggeshall. And to introduce her, I'm bringing up Dave Hegan. I played with Dave back in the 80s. Dave's most recent accolade is that he owns a steel company that made the current IU Rugby scrum sled, custom made. No, I'm good.
Thank you all. This is quite an honor to be able to say what I have to say here. The Alumni Board decided to not just have a men's IU Rugby Hall of Fame, we had an IU Rugby Hall of Fame. And on that behalf, we decided to include the woman who founded the Women's IU Rugby Club, and that's Katie Coggeshall. Katie placed an ad in the IU Daily Student in the spring of 1973, and it attracted 15 women to show up, and they scrimmaged among themselves. They did not have any games that first season. They practiced on the same rock-hard 10th Street Stadium, full of mud sometimes, that we did as men. And the men's team helped with Evan Williams, taught the women the game. In the spring of 1974, the women started playing against other teams, and they started having some success. Katie was the captain, the organizer, and the leader. Under her guidance, the team grew, it won tournaments, hosted the very first women's Big Ten tournament, and at one point they even played in the Memorial Stadium during halftime of an IU football game to publicize themselves as a new club on campus. After graduating, Katie continued her impact on women's rugby by starting another women's team in Indianapolis. Along the way, Katie met and married another IU rugger named Simon Binge. Today, Katie and Simon are actually in Australia, so on behalf of Katie, her niece, and Mike Chase's daughter, Lauren Hubbard is going to accept the award for her. Thank you.
It's me again. I'd like to thank Kinga Bryant. She was here, but her organization and the way she keeps track of the evening and really provides confidence and ease to me, because I was nervous having to speak twice tonight. So Kinga, wherever you are, thank you so much. If we could just give her a round of applause for all the background work. So thank you, Kinga. As women recognizing women, she is much appreciated. It's been mentioned that I'm Mike's daughter and Katie is my aunt. Both my parents, Mike and Joanne Chase, along with my Uncle Jack, played alongside Katie and Simon, alongside many of you in this room tonight and many that are with us in spirit. Katie is in Australia right now, traveling with her husband, Simon Bing. They're traveling the coast of Australia for about 4 weeks. She's living her best life as a badass forever. So round of applause for that, yes. Rugby was a huge part of my life growing up. I always knew that my Aunt Katie had started the first women's rugby team here at IU, and it was inspiring to know that she was such a pioneer in the sport. I did have the privilege, as Phil reminded me earlier, I got hurt a lot, of playing 2 years here at IU on the IU women's rugby team, and I was really just trying to get close to that legacy. Katie is one of the strongest women that I know. If there's anything that needs to get done, she's your man. She tells things like it is, she doesn't hold back, and I love those things about her tremendously. She has taught me many things as a woman and as a mother, and I'm extremely grateful to be here tonight accepting this award on her behalf. She has prepared a speech for the evening, and I'd like to read that now. I'm honored to be included in the IU Rugby Hall of Fame. I learned the basic rules of rugby from watching my brother play on the IU men's team. Although I'm not certain who approached who, Evan Williams, who's in the crowd, shout out to Evan. Woo! Evan Williams and I decided to start a women's team. Most of those first recruits didn't stick it out, and when they realized they had to give up their weekends and their bodies to a sport most have never heard of. But by the second year, we were able to field a full squad. I'd like to recognize those women who showed up, practiced hard, and played with guts and grit. We did it because rugby felt like freedom. It gave us strength, sisterhood, and just the right amount of controlled violence to get through midterms. I'd like to thank the men's team, our first coaches, cheerleaders, and tackling dummies. You didn't laugh when we dropped the ball, and you didn't flinch when we started hitting back harder than expected. Your support mattered more than you probably knew. We weren't trying to make history back then. We were just trying to figure out what a scrum was. But looking back, I'm proud we were part of something bigger. We planted a seed that's grown into a global movement, and I'm humbled to have played even a small role. So thank you to every woman who put on a jersey when there wasn't a place for us yet, and every young player today who plays like they own the field, because they do now. Cheers.
Dave Hegan's going to come up again and introduce our next inductee, who is the aforementioned Evan Williams.
Thank you, and I'd like to say this because nobody is even here tonight without the man I'm about to introduce. We're just not here to gather and celebrate greatness. You know, we're here to celebrate loyalty and generosity also. If someone ever asks what holds the IU Rugby Alumni Network together, you may think it's tradition or camaraderie or maybe even just the partying. But the truth is, it's Evan Williams. For over half a century, that's over 50 years, Evan has been the thread weaving this whole thing together. You know, most alumni clubs have one guy who always shows up, but Evan isn't just that guy. He's the guy who makes sure everyone else shows up. He's the guy who knows everyone's story, keeps the memories alive, and makes the IU rugby community not just a club, but one big extended family. And let's not forget his generosity. His list of accomplishments is much longer than I could ever read off. His donations to the rugby club are unmatched in his time and his effort. And Evan, if I'm not mistaken, was the guy who originally asked Mark Cuban to help donate some money. Am I right about that, Evan? Yes, I am. So tonight, as Evan Williams is inducted into the Hall of Fame, we don't just celebrate what he gave to the club. We also celebrate the laughter, the loyalty, the legacy, and the lifelong friendships he has helped to create. So please, help me introduce the man who has done more for IU Rugby than anyone else, and that's Mr. Evan Williams.
Sometimes I wonder what I'm doing up here, because I look at some of the people who have these, and they actually played well. I was, mediocre at best. I was never a Bryce. I mean, not many people are. Never a Donnie, never a, I don't know, Younger or Chase. But my skill is organization, so I'm an organizer. Interestingly, tonight, my daughter-in-law was asking, what was number 15? I mean, what did he play? Asking my son, and my son said, I don't think he ever played. I said, what? I played 12 years. Well, anyway, so my skill is organization. And why did I organize this? Why would I do that? Why didn't I do my high school? Well, actually I did, but anyway. It's because of this. It's because of you right here. I like to get people together and look at the people that are here. What are the metrics for us? Are we white, black, rich, poor? There's no metric for rugby players. There isn't. There should be. But we're all rugby players, and we come from all diverse backgrounds. Now, all I do is send out a few emails, and we all get together and we have fun. Okay, that's the organization. I can handle that. But that's just one part of it. You look at what was done tonight. Look what Johnny did, and look what Kinga did. Look what Jeff Amon has been doing. Jeff has now taken over our money. Yeah, we need him to do that. All of a sudden, we have a lot of money. It's like, okay, we need to be kind of responsible for it. And Jeff has done a bunches with that. Now, I got to pull out the rest of my list here to see who else I need to thank. But we all do our part. I watched Big Daddy take on the foundation, getting our endowment going. I know what he did to get that going. And, thank Mark, he did a lot of that, but Dyke also did that. Dyke went to Mark, and he got the donation commitment. He did his part. We're all doing our part. Let's see. Oh, how many of you played golf yesterday? Hank organized that. He also got the scrum sled for us. I mean, he's doing his part. We're all doing our part. Yeah, Bryce is taking on Coon Stadium now. That's not necessarily IU, but he's doing his part. We're all doing their part. I might have done the part longest, but we're all doing our part for rugby. Interestingly, another guy that did his part, people don't even know about this, when it came time to get a new coach, well, Mark does his normal thing. He kicks in half the amount. Well, half the amount, we still need the other half. Well, Stan Barecki came up, and he donated half of what Mark did, and all of a sudden we can get a coach. Well, Stan did his part. Mark always does his part. That's parts that are played that people don't necessarily know about, but we all do it. When we watched the game today, who heard our IU fight song being played on the trumpet? Mike Ferfero did his part. He brought his trumpet and was playing the IU fight song. Yeah, we're all doing our part. Let's see. Oh, Phil Bryan did his part. He brought Sarasota in for 4, 5, 6 years and then took IU rugby to a whole different level. So all I did is do my part. I just send emails out. That's all I do. I organize you guys to get you guys together. I'm very honored, and thank you for the honor. I appreciate that. But it's not just me. We all do our part. Was that short and quick enough? Did I keep everyone awake? So, okay. And thanks, Doug. Back to you. I'm a forward.
Our next inductee is Don Younger, and I'm going to bring up David Fee for the introduction. Dave is an All-American and an Eagle at the wing. He coached the IU Sevens team to a national final. Dave Fee, are you here? Oh, here he comes.
In true rugby fashion, I found out I was giving the speech about 30 seconds ago. So I'm honored to be here. I had the opportunity to come down and coach from about 2017. Came in and helped the Sevens program under SOPA, who did amazing things. I've also had the chance to represent our country with the United States. I played with Coach Gross. And back in the day, you know, before I got a chance to come down here and coach and understand what Indiana University is obviously becoming, and I still coach for our U18 national team, and I keep getting fed all these kids from Indiana. There was a guy that I played with, and his name was Don Younger. And in an effort to keep this short and sweet, Donnie was one of my favorite teammates. I'm honored to be down here to be able to introduce him, a true athlete. When you think about the Sevens game and where it is today, when you think about the guys that are preparing to play in the Olympics in 2028 here on home soil, Donnie was the first one, I think, that really helped us beat our true competition, and that's the Englands, the Wales, the South Africas, the New Zealands. You know, we could compete with Canada, we would beat the Brazils, we'd beat the Spains. But the first time I ever had a chance to beat a rugby-playing country was on the field with Donnie. And so, again, I'll be short, I'll be sweet, and I'll get out of here. But again, it's been an honor to be here and to introduce Donnie Younger.
I'd like to say something quickly about Don. So I'm Dave. I coach IU Rugby now. And Don came out and played Sevens with us right after he left Indiana out in Maryland. And Don and I went on tour to Fiji, and we went to Japan together. When Don showed up, he was the prototype best athlete we've ever seen. And I think he still is. And I'm grateful to have played with him. I'm grateful to still be involved with IU Rugby and still be connected with everybody. Don Younger is the man. So he deserves all of these honors. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Fee. You did a great job. Dave, Reese, thanks for actually coming up and fulfilling the role. I kind of feel bad when I saw Fee playing for Kentucky. I had 2 goals today. One was not to get hurt, which I succeeded at, and 2 was to cheap shot Fee whenever I could, and I got that accomplished. Oh. Sorry. Well, I don't know what you guys heard, but moving on. Thanks, John, Kinga. You guys did an amazing job organizing this. Really appreciate it. Really had a great weekend. Just proud to be part of this organization. You know, in the 90s we had a great team. You know, Garrett and Big Daddy, Lloyd, Lawhead, obviously. Beige Bomber, Lloyd. Beige Bomber. Anyways, he told me I had to get Beige Bomber in there. Anyways, thank you. SOPA's up next, so you're going to need all the time for that.
All right. It's a great honor to introduce the next inductee. I first met him when I was in elementary school. He was a very jovial man with a great laugh, but can turn very serious within a snap when the situation called for it. His knowledge of rugby molded and shaped my entire career, and I have him to thank for that, from high school through college. And I know that's the same case for many of us here tonight. Even if he didn't directly coach you, I'm sure he coached your high school coach or had an influence in your rugby career in some way. In the mid-90s, he brought IU from just a social club to the Final Four, finishing in the nation in 1998 with a record of 27-3, only losing to 2 varsity programs in the Final Four. He was selected to lead the Midwest Thunderbirds All-Star team and took them to a national championship in 2001. He spanned 3 decades coaching at IU. He's coached many on their path to play high levels and even many U.S. Eagles, as you've seen here tonight. We all owe a great thanks of gratitude for his selfless contributions to our club and rugby growth in the Midwest and far beyond. Please welcome our final inductee to the class of 2025 IU Rugby Hall of Fame, Coach Sarah Sopranari.
The record shows that IU Rugby started in 1962. It's 63 years now, and here we are. And while we are on that point, may I ask for us to remember the founding members of Rugby at IU, for those who are here and for those who have gone before us, if we may stand and honor them in silence for 1 minute. Thank you. You can be seated. It's coming home for me. The first time I came to Indiana for school, it was at Indianapolis. I went to Christian Theological Seminary. When I found out that I could handle school, then I find whether there was a rugby team. I called Indianapolis Star. 1 week later, Mr. Stein picked me up at the school. From then on, I affiliate with rugby in Indiana. Tonight's occasion, I would like to thank you, John Bryant and Jeff Eamon, and your group or council for putting together this. Thanks for dreaming the dream. Thanks for making it a reality as we are tonight. 63 years since the beginning of rugby in Indiana University, and here we are. I believe if we continue to nurture the passion for the wonderful game that we love, if we commit to maintain the structure upon which we develop the game, then I think we will continue to harvest the respect and the recognition that we now enjoy. My gate to Indiana University rugby began at Indy men's rugby. When I found out where the rugby was, they contacted Tim Stein, and then he showed up and picked me up. He took me to the field right again, and I did not have any rugby stuff with me. Nonetheless, I remember Larry Sage gave me cleats right there. The guy named, I forgot his first name, but we called him Ugly. He's this short, but his waist was this big, and he gave me his pair of shorts, and it fell right through my waist. The message was, they want me to step into training right there and then. Well, season went well. Not the first season I played. The second season was okay. So I got to the point when I knew the team standard was not that good. The next season I said, I'm not going to play the first side, I'm going to be the coach. And I did coach. And I went and played hooker for the third side. There was a subtle message there. But one thing I told him, I don't care what you tell me and what you call me about. One thing I want to do, as long as you do what I ask you to do. And they did, because they didn't have any option. Behind the bicycle track up there are some hills there, and they did taste the pain. But at the end, they enjoyed the success. So my job here is just to acknowledge the people who have contributed to the game of rugby, right from there to where I use today. So Tim Stein, bless his heart. I also, even though it's already being presented and he appeared over here in person, I still like to acknowledge his contribution to IU Rugby. Phil Bryant, with his vision, convinced Tim Stein that there is one way of changing the image of IU Rugby. I was already serving a second church in Washington State, Clarkston, Washington. And Lord and behold, Phil Bryant and Tim Stein showed up at my door. I thought they were just doing something around, and I said, sit down and we'll have a meal. Before I knew it, here is the proposal. We want to change the image of rugby at IU. I said, I'm sorry, but I'm serving a church, and I have 3 kids then. So they left. They came the second time, it's the same story. They came the third time, I was beginning to feel, well, what if? They came the fourth time. I said, I'm not going to come there just to coach. What do you mean? I would like to do a doctorate program. If you can sort it out, then maybe I will have something to say. And that's how it came about. So we came here and start coaching. You all know the image of young guys playing rugby at college. And then you elevate yourself to become an alumni, and then you become age, and then as we do that, as we become older, we become greater in our stories. Even though you are at 50, it sounds like that you can do things 3 times better than what you're doing. So Phil, thank you very much. As John said, on his own initiative, he started that, and by himself, and thank you very much. Another inductee tonight, in person, said what he did and what he has been doing. I would like to acknowledge some of the things that he might have not mentioned it. Evan Williams, we may not have seen eye to eye for most of the things we did. But nonetheless, the time that you invested in trying to hold together the alumni, plus what I was able to do on this ground here, became cohesive so that it brought a respect to this program. And for that, I owe you that. Thank you. Well, I think everybody, if not most people here, might have an idea of what Mark Cuban have done. But from my perspective, I would still like to mention some of the things that affect the program, and for me too. We all know that he has given a lot of his finance to support the programs. The first time we had the collegiate sevens aside at Philadelphia, it came to us very quick, and I did not know how to do any fundraising that will help to finance that trip. So I picked the phone up and talked to Mike. The conversation was not long, and I thought, here we go. Because I heard his philosophy is that he doesn't want to give freebies out. But with a short conversation, and this is how he ended. Here's the number of my secretary, talk to her, and let everything go. Big Daddy knew that because he was the one who ended up using that finance to manage that whole tournament. From then on, if I didn't know who to turn to, I would just pick up the phone and call Mark. That's one level. The other level is we know when we have our reunion and there's something special going on. I don't know who talked to him, but the next thing we know is the club on the other side of the street is being paid. Showed up, tell them that you're a rugby player, and you're on. That's how he financed those kind of stuff. But for me, besides all that stuff, I come to understand and learn his heart as a woman, as a human. He even took care of some of the players who he's now calling his best friends. Mike Schubach, towards the end of his life, Mark Cuban reached out and he asked me if I could take Schubach to California for some treatment. And he covered all the expenses. That I know, that he was not just a fun boy, that he was a very caring human being. He might have not said that much today, but I know him from that perspective. So Mark, if you're hearing us, may I speak for everyone here tonight. Please accept our gratitude. I coached Indiana University 2 terms. Starting from the beginning, it was hard to explain to the young players what the rugby is about. They didn't even know what a rugby ball is. So I had a hard time to try to digest the material and then explain to players. Most of the conversation I have with the new players is, oh, hi coach, I want to play rugby. I hit hard. And that tells me the resume of rugby that player knows. But we keep on going. We kept on going. We kept on going. As Johnny said that, yeah, with that much, we were able to go to the Final Four nationally. We were about to go, and then we beat both Penn State, which was the number 2 team, and Ohio State. So we went there ranked number 2 in the nation, which is, I think, was a very good boost for the program and for the player themselves. When I come back the second time, I was very happy to know that there are a number of rugby players from the Indiana Men's Club that took the initiative to start rugby, to the point that there were scheduled games, try to teach what they can. Even during the game, they would get on the field and help the referee to tell the players what to do and how to do it. So for that, it has a big contribution for rugby here in IU. And may I recognize one of them. I have a friend here, Simon Bidmead. And as we try to grow the kingdom of rugby here in southern Indiana, we had 2 high school here. What's the name of your friend, Eman? There, the one? Yeah, Foster. Yeah, he was coaching South High School. Someone was coaching North High School, Columbus, Indiana. Okay, and Edgewood. And that's how the kingdom grows. The gospel was preached and it affected. So for that, Simon, Foster, and others, thank you very much for your contribution. Well, it's funny that things come around full circle. I played rugby for the first time in Indianapolis. I'm so happy as a father to come back and learn that my youngest son is playing rugby at Indy Men's Club. Even more sweet, his wife is the treasurer for the team. So she holds the money for the club anyway. Today, we watch a very, very good game of rugby. IU play against Kentucky. I'm very happy that IU did well. I am very proud that my older son, Sam, is the head coach. And I know Lauren, his partner at this point, is helping with, she's a chemist, and she will help Sam with the team in that level. My wife, Fatima, is here with me tonight. In spite of the unfortunate injury, she still supported me and what I needed to do for rugby. So I am very privileged to look back and know for rugby here in Indiana, I coach the IU rugby, I coach the Indiana select side, I'm the head coach of the Midwest select side. I did the clinic to qualify the coaches in the United States. For that, I am very, very happy of that. So now, I'm hanging up my boots with a clear conscience. And I reminded of the word of the Apostle Paul to his son Timothy. For you have run a good race, and you have fought a good fight. Thank you, IU, for the opportunity. May God bless you. May Jesus Christ's love surround you. And may the fellowship with the Holy Spirit continues to guide you. Amen.
Well, that concludes the inductees into the Hall of Fame. And we said that the theme for tonight was past and present and future. We're going to move in towards the present state of the team. And there's a person I'm going to bring up to the stage right now who is the heart and soul. If you need the kind of person who's going to give you a list of attendees at the meeting and book the Zoom room and give you a spreadsheet of the dollars that would, all that kind of stuff that drives you crazy. He was the classic 7-year, 4-year degree, played all but 3 positions on the field. I give you Jeff Eman.
All right, do we got a slide, please? All right, it's an honor to be here. I don't think I need the mic, do I? Okay. It is an honor to be here and follow in the footsteps of those who were just here, but more generally, all the folks in this club. It's great to serve you, and that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. So I got, about 30 minutes to talk about the organizations? Oh, 3 minutes, okay. All right, next slide. So first I want to talk about the IURC, and this is the organization that is run by alumni. We have Johnny at the helm, and you can see all of the other members there. Next slide, please. Stay with me. All right. So what we do is serve and advise the club via general board. We have 3 board members, Dyke, myself, and Johnny, that actually serve on the club's general board. We coordinate the alumni and put on events like this. Thank you, board, for stepping up. We strategize with the club for growth. Okay, so when our coach was fired by the club in 2019 out of the blue, and they had no plans for succession, we stepped in, we did a strategic plan. Brian Williams led that charge along with James Tyson, thanks to the both of you. And we found Luke and recruited him along with a number of other very fine candidates, but Luke stood out from those people. So we got a coach in place, we manage the coaching staff here, we coordinate with the Friends Hoosier Rugby. I'll talk about them in a sec. We manage the IU Rugby men's endowment, all right, and we fund the club through that. This endowment, the IU Foundation said, given the new rules for club sports, you can no longer use our tax-exempt status. You need to move the money out of the foundation, which was a real blessing for us. So we formed the nonprofit status for the IURAC, transferred the $2.2 million that was in the foundation, starting with Phil and Big Daddy, as you heard, got that set up. We chose Merrill Lynch as our trusted fund managers. We took in Cuban's first installment of $2 million, so we're at $4.2 million right now, and that will grow towards the future. We'll look at that in a moment. And then the fund, could we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so what do we do with that fund money? It flows through the Friends of Hoosier Rugby. The Friends of Hoosier Rugby takes donations in two types. One, to the endowment, so we flow back up to the endowment, and for a direct pass-through. So we have, this board is made up of both parents, Dave Reese is here, Tom Phillips is here, Greg Scott is here, and other parents, Mark Hannon and Jeff Holmes, who started the Holmes Fry Scholarship. And what we do is conduct fundraising activities. We review the club budgets. We approve all planned expenditures, working with Joey Reese on that. Mainly coaching, travel, and support staff. We transfer the funds into the club and make sure we get a receipt for everything. Again, we have two primary ways to donate, and that's through the endowment and a direct pass-through. There's a QR code on your table. We'll talk about that in a moment. We're breaking into scholarships with that first one. We plan more. We have sponsorships, 3 first tonight, and then planned giving. I believe Johnny's going to touch on that. Next slide, please. In terms of club growth and fundraising activities, I really liked what Evan said. We all play a part here, and this is a great way for you to contribute. If there's nothing else that you can really do in your present position, you can help by making a contribution, okay? So in 2022, suddenly we had a spike in, we were like way down low when we went up to a coaching expense for really good national caliber coaches of, on the order of $200,000. And that budget has grown, and you can see we're at $415,000 for our club budget for this year, and we continue to want to grow that, to be able to travel, to play higher level clubs, to have better training, and to continue the quality coaching staff that we have. The money that we get from the endowment is interest only, and there's a gap between those two lines. And this is our job to fill that gap. We have the coaching fund alumni, a group of about 15 of us that have contributed $1,000 or more over the last 3 years and have pledged to do that for the next 2 years. What we need is new supporters to match Mark Cuban's $2 million. That's not just a gift, right? That is a match. That means $200,000 per year. And I'm very pleased to say that the club last year raised $40,000. This has never happened before, except when there was a trip to Ireland, and they raised something like $15,000. Anyway, the club raised $40,000 last year. They're on target and have raised already $30,000 this year and going towards $50,000. And we're continuing to see that help fill our gap as well. I'm going to have the team stand up. We're going to give you a round of applause for that. That kind of participation, okay, thanks guys. That kind of participation and you being a part of, that makes us want to give more and want to do more for you. So what can you do? Again, we're recommending that you donate monthly and donate right now to the endowment. We feel like for the next 2 years, we're going to be able to fill that gap. We really need to grow the endowment to bring that red line up. That's about all I have. Again, I'm really pleased to serve you. I have Greg Scott. Please stand up, Greg. And our treasurer, our Friends of Hoosier Rugby treasurer, Brian Williams, IURAC treasurer. Evan made a comment about me handling the money. It's these guys. So they do all the hard work. I just get to, take the credit, I guess. Thanks, Evan. Thank you all.
Okay, our next speaker, I'm honored to introduce as well. He's a combat veteran I met through an organization called Operation Enduring Warrior. The goal of that organization is to empower our nation's wounded veterans. We do so by offering them physical challenges and helping them overcome them in small groups. You might have seen this before at Spartan races if you ever go to those. It's the guys in the blacked out gas masks doing a lot of crazy stuff. But this guy, he invited me to another event this past December where it was another life-changing event. I got to assist a World War II veteran, just under 100 years old, who did a 5K obstacle course. And I mean, it's incredible. Every experience I have with this guy is always giving me a different perspective on life. So I'm grateful to call him a brother in many ways. And his message just brings deep perspective again and again every time I'm with him. So I'm excited to see what he has to say to you and hope you gain some perspective from his story. Please welcome Earl Granville.
You want the wireless? Yeah.
What's up, IU? Hey, can we give Johnny B a round of applause here, man? Thank you so much, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Earl Granville. A little bit about my background. I'm a 9-year veteran in the Pennsylvania Army National Guard as an infantryman with tours to Bosnia, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Woo! Oh, yeah. My last tour, I was wounded, unfortunately, and my career was cut short, but that's all right. Doing awesome stuff now. Besides being a member of Operation Enduring Warrior, I also play sled hockey for an all-wounded veteran sled hockey team called the USA Warriors. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, I really suck at hockey, man. I want to back up a little bit, tell you my reason to join in the military. My twin brother Joe talked to me about joining some type of armed forces our senior year of high school, and I said, dude, I don't want to do that. But there was an incentive of joining. Hey, a free education. I got no scholarships up ahead. This will pay for college. So, after graduating high school, Joe and I had a nice summer. We landed in Fort Benning, Georgia for basic training. The date was September 1st, 2001. Yeah, y'all know what happened 11 days later. And little punk kid I was at the time, I looked at my brother and said, hey man, I didn't join the military to go to war, right? I was making it about me. What can I get out of this? No turning back at this point. Joe and I finished basic training, joined the Pennsylvania Army National Guard as infantryman with the 109th Infantry. When we came home from basic training, I was looking into school, immediately put on hold. We got orders for Bosnia. Nice little peacekeeping mission in Eastern Europe. No real threat to us at the time in the 109th. We came home from that tour the spring of 2003. I enrolled in a college, getting that education. Whole reason I joined to begin with. I got 2 semesters in when we got orders for Iraq. But it was a volunteer mission. So I was like, no, I'm not going. I'm going to stay back. Joe, on the other hand, he was going to go. And I thought to myself, God forbid if my brother volunteering for this combat deployment, and here I am, staying back in Scranton, Pennsylvania, partying at college. How would that make me feel? So I put my big boy pants on, and off I went to Iraq with the 109th Infantry. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. IU was the best decision I ever made. What do I mean by that? I joined the military and made it about me. But going to Iraq, put in these dangerous situations, becoming a sergeant and an NCO, this isn't about me. It's about us, being a part of something bigger than yourself. Now on this tour, National Guard unit, right? The whole reason for me living in the 90s, seeing all those commercials 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, we're never going to combat. Obviously that changed. Our unit over there, 109th Infantry, we lost 7 people on this deployment. Not only does this affect the 109th Infantry, but also, being that we're a National Guard unit, the community at large in northeastern Pennsylvania. And my fallen friends who passed away, the weight this took on the 109th and the community at large. Joe and I both re-upped our contracts over there. We knew this is a job we both wanted to do for the rest of our lives. We came home from that deployment. I enrolled back into college, got my associate's degree, hit this fork of the road. What's next? All of a sudden we get another warning order, another volunteer mission. This is Afghanistan. I raised my hand right away. Joe is going to stay back. He's now married and he wants to start a family, and that's his priority. Joe asked me, he's like, hey dude, how about we both stay back and we go over on these deployments when we have no choice? I said, sorry dude, I'm cutting this cord. Off I go to Afghanistan with the 103rd Armor. Now on this mission, we're working with the local government in Afghanistan, helping build infrastructure that the Taliban is destroying. You know, Taliban doesn't like females getting an education, so they would shoot up schools at night. But it's a very unique mission from anything else I've done in my military career. We would escort civil affairs officers to point A to point B while they have their meetings with local village elders and government, pull security for them, and then we would take them back to base. Pretty cut and dry mission. Every person we would escort would sit in the back seat of our Humvee, except for one individual. This gentleman, his name is Major Scott Haggerty. Major Haggerty just liked to be in charge of the vehicle he was in. It's just what he did. I saw on this 4-day mission roster, Major Haggerty was in my vehicle. Major Haggerty, you want to be in charge? That's cool. Tell you what, I'm going to jump on the gunner's hatch. Everybody's happy. Too easy. Continue mission. Now, this 4th day of this mission, we're going to look at this future site where we're going to build a school in this little village called Zormat. And on the drive out there, we're taking a route we're unfamiliar with. And we realize this road, very skinny. Looking to our right, we're looking down a cliff. To our left, we're looking up. So we have to crawl these vehicles on this road. Puts us in a very vulnerable position. And we see in the distance, in the horizon, we're being watched. Luckily, we make it to our objective. We get to our location, do what we have to do, pack everybody back up. We look at our maps, decide to take a different route back so we're not in a vulnerable position again. Now on this route, look, I grew up in Pennsylvania. A lot of green, like here in Indiana, right, in the summers? And I'm noticing in this part of Afghanistan, which is usually mountainous and desert looking, there's like green vegetation. Seeing some green grass. And I'm in that gunner's hatch talking to the guys, and I'm like, geez, man, this is beautiful here. We need to patrol here more often. The next thing I remember, I see nothing but black. You know when your head is underwater, and the noise you're hearing at the time, it's like a faint noise? You know what I'm talking about? That's the best way to describe it here in that moment. And I felt this momentum. And in my mind, I'm saying to myself, what the heck is going on right now? When I came to, I opened my eyes. Big, beautiful sky. It's like 2:30 in the afternoon over there. Jeez, why am I looking at the sky? Holy shit. I'm on the ground, my feet are backwards, and I'm full of blood. Humvee I'm riding in, completely ripped to shreds. We just hit a roadside bomb. All I tried to do was assess the situation. I tried to stand up. Well, that wasn't happening. I heard my buddy Joe Voda yell, get him in a body bag. Okay, people are killed. This is us, is them. What's happening? Finally, my medic gets to me, U.S. Air Force Tech Sergeant Eric Jones. We call him Doc Jones. Doc starts working on my wounds. Doc, how's everybody else doing? They're doing fine. We're patching them up. We're going to get you guys out of here. Doc is the bleeding under control. They put me on a litter. They carry me right behind a vehicle for cover, and when they transfer me over, they walk me right past 2 body bags with equipment around it. And just by looking at the equipment, I knew exactly who it was. It was the remains of Major Scott Haggerty of Stillwater, Oklahoma, the gentleman who took my seat that day, which is why I'm still standing in front of you all today. and specialist Derek Holland of Wind Gap, Pennsylvania, who was driving the Humvee that day. Derek just turned 20 years old. My buddy's calling a 9-line, calling the medevac chopper. Chopper lands. They escort me on. Chopper takes me to Bagram Air Base. While I'm there, doctors put me under for surgery. The next thing I remember, I'm waking up in Germany. The doctor says later that day, all right, here's the situation with your wounds. Your right leg we think we could salvage, but your left leg we're gonna have to amputate. Amputate, heavy stuff. You think I could keep it? Well, if you keep it, it's gonna be non-weight bearing, so you're not gonna be able to walk on it, so your life is gonna be on crutches or a wheelchair. No, Doc, you're not hearing what I'm saying. Do you think I could keep it? And he said, no. Let me tell you something, IU. There's nothing more in mine than those 5 toes sitting on the operating table. Am I right? You guys ever see A Christmas Story? Yeah, you know that lamp? You know what I'm talking about, right? Be pretty cool to bring home, right? Didn't get to keep my leg. A few more surgeries in Germany. I got sent back to the States, Walter Reed Army Medical Center, and this is going to be my home for a long time. My 3rd day, I'm still in ICU. My immediate family finally gets a green light to come down. And so it's not overwhelming. They're not all coming into my room at once. One by one, they come visit me. First my mom, then my dad, one of my siblings, another sibling, and eventually there was Joe. You can imagine this awkward reunion. Joe says to me in this reunion, seeing him for the first time where I just look all jacked up, and he says, I should have just gone with you. Gone with me, you could have been killed. Look at it this way, ladies and gentlemen. God rest Major Haggerty, God bless him, because if I wasn't escorting him that day, I would have been killed. So what do I have to complain about? Did my rehab at Walter Reed. Got my independence back, learned how to play hockey, learned how to snowboard with a special prosthetic leg. Life was good. Got out of the Army, got a job in Washington, D.C. I had nothing to complain about. A week before Christmas in 2010, I'm back in Pennsylvania getting ready for this black tie holiday event. I get out of the shower. I'm in front of the mirror doing my hair. All of a sudden the phone rings. I let the phone go to voicemail. Finish doing my hair, wash the hair gel out. I look at my phone, see it's my mom. I listen to the voicemail. She's hysterical on the other end. Earl, you need to call me immediately. Boy, what's that about? I give her a call. She won't stop crying, and she's hysterical. Mom, deep breath, what's going on? Talk to me. While on active duty, my twin brother, Staff Sergeant Joe Granville, takes his own life. Worst day of my life, IU. How do I get this second chance at life? And my own twin brother take his away. The next day, I had to go to Joe's house. There's his wife. There's his 3 kids. And you can imagine the energy of people flowing in and out of this house. Well, what happens now? Okay, so today is Sunday the 19th. Tomorrow, somebody gonna be at the Armory in 109th Infantry in Honesdale? All right, let's go to the Armory. Me and 2 buddies go up there. There's my old readiness NCO. He gives me his condolences. I start filling out paperwork for Joe's funeral. I need you to go work with supply. It's going to be an open casket, make sure all Joe's words are up to date. I need you to go work with my mother, help her pick out a casket at Priest Funeral Home. We're going to take his widow, Stephanie, off to St. Rosalima Church, work out all logistics there, and I just started delegating all these tasks. But not really processing what's going on. Does that make sense? Like just going to autopilot. Day came at Joe's funeral. I put on those pretty good looking army dress blues. I walk up to that casket and I give him the final salute. That's that. Now what? IU, let me ask you guys something. Have you ever heard the term idle hands is the devil? That is so absolutely true. My mindset went right back to making it all about me, feeling sorry for myself, playing the victim, thinking the world owes me everything. Guys, where does playing a victim get you in life? Nowhere. You're absolutely right. I was that guy with a dysfunctional veteran shirt, living my days in the past like I'm Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Did you ever see that movie? Throw a football over these mountains. I had nothing to look forward to, just in the bars, living in the past, reminding everybody what I once was. In my recovery, making a lot of bad mistakes, I found a passion, though, in physical fitness. Joining CrossFit, finding a community once again. What this did led me to meet guys like Johnny Bryan over here, fellow guardsman, and running an organization called Operation Enduring Warrior. And what this organization did kind of opened my eyes, where I'm in good physical fitness to not just challenge myself, but also mentor other people like myself reach their physical goals. It made me realize, just like that Iraq deployment, this isn't about me. It's about us. Ladies and gentlemen, I truly believe, as human beings, there's 3 P's we all need in our lives. You must have a purpose. What do you wake up and give to the world? You must have a passion. What do you wake up for yourself? And you must be part of something bigger than yourself. And the path to find those 3 P's, ladies and gentlemen, a good attitude. Because I learned that dysfunctional veteran attitude is not going to get you anywhere in life. Number 2, comfort zone. You must take a leap out. I've been hearing a lot of stories here from our alumni here. Maybe their first time at practice, stuff like that. Phil's story. Where are you at, Phil? That 3rd path, ladies and gentlemen, community. And that's all of you here today. The power of community, ladies and gentlemen, and the relationships you build with one another. Yes, mission at hand. Like Rugby's team today. Where's our guys that beat Kentucky today? Mission at hand today. What did you guys do? Mission accomplished, ladies and gentlemen, right? That's what we're meant to do. But there's something very important, the silver lining in all this, the relationships you build with one another. So you don't have to carry that weight by yourself. I have an example for that right here. Diana, can you come up? Can you give my beautiful wife a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? What Diana is carrying right here, this is Cindy the Cinder Block. I know our rugby teams have been carrying this down for a few weeks now, am I right? I had the privilege to talk to them about this today and what this represents. Cindy represents that wave of adversity that we all carry inside ourselves. Guilt, stress, depression, anxiety. The weight of adversity that holds you down and stops you from enjoying life. Now, when my buddy Johnny over here, in Operation Enduring Warrior, sometimes we'll take this out with us. I'll start off with it. After a while, she gets really heavy. But luckily, as a team or a community, we all carry the weight together. Because that's the same up in here. The weight we carry inside, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have to carry it alone. As a team, that mission at hand, taking out Kentucky today like we did. But it's the relationships you build, ladies and gentlemen. Understand, on those heavy days, you have people to talk to. So you don't have to carry this by yourself and continue focusing on your mission. You guys tracking? You guys tracking? God bless you, IU. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You got it.
Yeah, Johnny, my man. You got it.
Thank you, Earl. So now we'll get to hear maybe a little different perspective from that on our next speaker that we all know, Storied Eagle, Rugby Hall of Fame, head coach of our IU rugby team, Coach Gross. off.
Probably.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach.
Got some
for you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you, baby. Give me a kiss. Thank you. My daughter decided to escort me up. So we had a pre-warm-up game, or sorry, a pre-warm-up speech from Earl, and the boys tore the door off before we headed out to the field. It was very impressive, and it enlightening to a lot of the boys. Pull this out, excuse me. I was told at 4 o'clock yesterday that I'm doing this speech, so I didn't memorize it, so congratulations to all the Hall of Fame guys and ladies. Very, very excited to be here with you and to share the moment with you. It's truly a privilege to be part of this program. The club is 63 years old. The first one I attended was when I signed my contract. It was the 60th. That was a good night. Coop, where are you? I remember it. I know that for sure, brother. I'd like to thank our coaching staff here real quick if I could. I'll just run down the list. We have Coach Steve Lemaster. He's out of Indianapolis. He's a UK grad, and he was torn today. He couldn't make it. He had a pants issue, apparently. Dave Reese, who is over here, he's also a former Eagle for Sevens. He's our development team backs coach. Turner Edwards, who is our scrum specialist, but he's also handling the stream. Alec Bertram is our strength and conditioning, and he's not here. And Nick Taylor, he's our, is this still working? Backs and attack, he's also our Sevens head coach. Now, if you have an opportunity tonight, you see him at the bar, you see him here, buy him a drink, because he's decided that he's going to leave this year at the end of the season, and we don't want him to leave. So we have to pressure him into staying big time, all right? There he is, Nick. I'd also like to thank all the alumni for their support. Without you, none of this is possible at this level. I'd also like to thank Jeff Eman and Johnny Bryant, who have taken on a massive workload here in the last year to make a lot of things possible and set up processes that have changed the club and changed the club for its future. I'd also, where's Kinga? Kinga's also done a shit ton, so thank you, Kinga. If we have any Type 5 guys here, make sure you find the steel guy, buy him around, because he provided that beautiful toy, or built that beautiful toy that we call a scrum sled. Thank you. Excuse me. The future of this program is in good hands. We have 80 young men in the room tonight. I think some of them have left because they had parties to go to. From 22 different states and 3 countries. So hands off to them, man. They're doing a tremendous job. You know, I came in and I knew Coach Sopa before this, and the legacy he has left here, a lot of people in this room have felt. And I just try to build on that. And I just want to thank him for how he left what I found. All right, thank you, Coach. So get into the future, okay. So our relationship with IU has grown, not only with rec sports, which we have a couple representatives here tonight. Thank you, gentlemen. But with the media school, IU athletics, and several other schools and programs. Our recruiting has grown tremendously by coaches attending all the national team tournaments for high schools. We're also taking on helping to coach the Midwest Thunderbirds and other
all-star teams through the country. Thank you for that, Nick. We've hosted several Midwest high school development coach clinics here in the last couple of years to help build bridges to access their players, but also they coach our players, right? So when they come to us, their skill level is higher. We've also launched a summer camp that took off this year up at Coot Stadium. They're awesome to work with, and we're just going to do nothing but build that and grow it, and hopefully we can continue that camp plus build the one here at IU. The alumni, players, and parents boards are putting together processes in place that will last for years. Leaders come and go, players will graduate, coaches will retire. But the culture, standards, and structures that are built and put in place, they're here to stay. Our endowment has doubled, and it will double again in 2 years, as long as we all do our part. Thank you, alumni, big time. This is not just about this team, now and here. This is about a team in 10 years or 50 years from now. Indiana Rugby should never have to start over. It just needs to move forward. Indiana Rugby is stronger than ever, and its best days are still ahead. Thank you all for being a big part of this journey. Let's have a toast. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. So Coach talked a little bit about the future. One of the things that we're looking at doing is growing scholarships. So if I can get, let's see here, a gentleman to come up and talk about scholarships. Sorry, I mixed up my notes. Carter Holmes, please come on up. He's going to discuss a scholarship that we have as an opportunity. And we're also working with the IU Army and Air Force ROTC programs to try to build opportunities through our world-class athlete programs for scholarships as well. So I'll hand it off to you.
Thank you. All right, guys, I'd just like to start off thanking all the alumni for being here. I know it means a lot to all of us current players for you guys all showing up and doing something this fucking cool. So thanks to all of you for being here, showing up, and making all this happen. But my name's Carter Holmes. I'm a sophomore here at IU. I chose IU because I love the fact when I met Coach Luke that he was very focused on expanding American talent, and I thought that was incredible. And I thought the only thing was missing is the scholarship program. Scholarship was started by my father earlier this year, thanks to my great-grandfather's foundation. And that intentionally donates to educational endeavors. So I lost my place. To make IU Rugby an easier choice for high-level rugby players first around the country, and helping them cover some of the costs of their education, we gave $8,000 out to Dalen Blanding last year at the end of the year, end of the 7th season, for being an outstanding Hoosier and really representing what being a Hoosier meant. Due to the success of Hoosier Rugby, high-level players are looking to play here at IU. But with more and more schools offering scholarships today, it makes it hard to really grasp those players' attention. The hard work has been done, Jeff Eamon and my dad from Friends Hoosier Rugby, in setting up this scholarship, and has cleared a path so anybody can really step into that role and make a scholarship themselves. I would put to you, the alumni, to help with this endeavor. Start a scholarship in your name, leave a legacy, as most of you already have. And just to help the best players from the country choose IU, because we all love IU, we all love Bloomington. Let's just show everybody that this is the place I want to be. Thank you.
past and present and future. Let's step into the future, because if you think for just a second, the future of IU Rugby is in this room right now. It's what we do from this point forward. And one thing that you can do, and I know that there are some people in the room here that have already done it, is you can put the team in your will to carry on your support of the team beyond your exit from this lifetime. If you've put IU in your will, would you please stand up? The boys in the room that have done that. I just want to see it. Let's see it. Stand up, Evan. Stand up. Go ahead, Joe. Stand up, Evan. 3 cheers for these people. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. If you want to talk to someone about how you might make that happen, the Merrill Lynch boys are here. And I would encourage you to think about it if you have the means. For the rest of us, you've heard us laud each other for the contributions that have been put forward to create the new function for the endowment, to create an event like this. If you have not been able to play a role yet in this kind of support for the club, I ask you, what's one thing you can do in the next 12 months to support IU Rugby going forward? And I'm especially going to call out to the boys from the 90s, 2000, 2010s, okay? To bring the boys back into the fold, to support the club the way that the teams from the 70s, 60s, and 80s have, because we won't be here very much longer. You'll never be more beautiful than you are today, and we will never be here again. So now's your chance to make a difference, to bring your boys together and continue to support the club the way we have to bring us here today. What else do I need to do here, Johnny? Maddie? Now it's time for the live auction. I got an old hooker up here from IU. Maddie G is going to be your live auctioneer. I'll be one of the callers. We need one more caller if you're ready. Now, somebody's got to describe the rules here. How does it work, Johnny? QR code, something or other? You going to set it up for us, Maddie? Okay, cool. This is a cash-free joint. If you just point the back, they'll get it for you. Mic on?
Here? Nope. Here's some. Check.
Mic 5. All right, folks, we're going to try to speed through this a little bit. I know you guys heard a lot of people talking, so we're going to try to liven this up a little bit with the auction items. We have 2 up for bid. Can we go ahead and play the first video of our first item auction? I know we played some golf yesterday, fellas, but this is an opportunity to play in Carmel. You have up to 1 year to use this package. 2 players to play a cricket stick golf course located in Carmel. It's one of the nicest PGA-rated golf courses in Indiana. Lunch is provided, and also you will have a caddy that will go along with you. Now, I have Dyke over here, and I got Rhino in back. If you want to bid on this item and you can't get my attention, get a hold of one of these guys and they're going to holler at me. So this is a live auction. If you want to bid on this item, you simply raise your hand and we will keep going. All right? The moral of the story is we got to raise money for the rugby team, okay? When you win the auction, you use that QR code that's on your table and you will pay for that. Everyone download and look up that QR code because that is your opportunity to donate to the rugby club. All right? So, without further ado, we're going to start the bidding at $100. Do I have $100 over there? 100, 200, let me see, $200. I got 200 over there. $300, I got 300 over there. Anyone $300? I got $300. $400. Anyone 400 over there? $500. Let me see, 555. Let me see, $500. Anyone another 500 there? Got it. $600. $600. Let me see, 666. Let me need $600. Anyone? Come on, guys. It's over to the rugby club, and it is a tax write-off when you sign up through the club through the QR code. Do I have $600? $1,000. I got $1,000 over here. $1,100. Anyone? $1,100. Okay, you got $1,100? Anyone? $1,100? I got $1,000. We got what we needed. $1,000. Anyone else? Anyone else? 1,000 going once. 1,000 going twice. Sold. Give them a round of applause, folks. That's how quick we're going to get through this, guys. Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Just pay through Friends of Hoosier Rugby, okay? All right. This is the big ticket item. You might have saw it on Facebook just a little bit ago, a couple hours ago. This is the Big Hunt package. Can you please roll the item, the video footage? You're heading to Texas, the largest ranch in the United States, King Ranch, and you're on a hunt. Forget Yellowstone, forget Dutton Ranch. You are John Dutton. You're going out, and you're going to go hunt these Nagal blue bulls. Now, if you are not into the hunting type, you have great accommodations. 2-night stay on this largest ranch in America. All right? We got a big gap to fill here, guys. So, does anyone just want to go ahead and donate $5,000? Anyone just go ahead and say $5,000 and we'll just call it a night? $5,000. No? No takers? All right, how about $2,000? Anyone, $2,000. Come on, guys. You're heading to Texas. You're going to go hunt for 2 days, and you're staying in the beautiful state of Texas, just southwest of Corpus Christi. $2,000, anyone? Anyone? You're going to make me work for this, I see. All right. $500? Anyone? $500? Come on, guys, $500. Remember, it's not about the item. It's about raising funds for rugby. We got $500 over there. Do I have $1,000? $1,000. Anyone? $1,000. Come on, guys. You and another person is going. $1,000. $1,500. $1,500. And we have $1,500 over there. 2 of you could split this item, guys. $1,500. Anyone? Anyone? We got $2,000. Let's see, $2,000. Anyone? $2,000. Come on, guys, we got to get some more money because we can't sell the package. That's short, $2,000. Anyone, $2,000. Come on, come on, $2,000. Anyone? Anyone? $2,000 over there, thank you, sir. $2,500. You have $2,500 over there. Come on, guys, anyone? $2,500. Anyone, come on. I know we're almost done. This is the last order of the night. I'll be up here until we get this sold. $2,500, anyone? All right, I have $2,000. We got $2,000. Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? Do we have it? We're selling right up here. Okay, that is the auction items. Is that the last order of business? Here you go, Johnny. Thank you, guys.
Johnny, if you are a Hall of Fame inductee, do not leave this room without your jersey in a frame. You're supposed to take these home with you.
Can I get one for Evan?
Yeah, grab Evans.
I don't know if I can, I'll try to
As
get
we're
it.
closing out here, so you're welcome to come and get photos up here on the stage. We are leaving the raffle open for another 15 minutes. So if you didn't get a chance to raffle on one of the items, buy a raffle ticket. There's a lot of great items over there as well.
Did a lot.
Thank you.
For this thing. Appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Are you living in Tacoma? Oh.
We're going to talk for a while. I'll see you. We'll take the picture in the morning.
I gotta get my mic turned off.
Check.
For anybody that's interested, we're headed to the Hilton Garden Inn bar. It's called Coach's. It's where most everybody's staying. The management there has agreed to keep it open until midnight tonight. So that's where we're headed next. If anybody wants to join. Thank you.